When it's hot out, you don't want to just smell fresh. You want to turn heads. You want fragrances that will cut through the warmth or work along with it to get you noticed. Right. Well, good thing, friends. That's what we're talking about today. Ash here, welcome back to Gents. But before we jump into the fragrances, something important we need to talk about. Something that you see every time you watch one of these videos. My hair. Finally! I brought this up in a previous video, but I need to bring it up once again. You see, this is actually, oh! Damn! It's actually not a toupee.
I've never been more shocked.
It's those.
These.
I've actually had a whole bunch of you guys reach out. That's the only reason I bring this up, asking for advice and stuff like that. It's just this. They're these little tubes, finasteride and minoxidil. You take one a day, you see? Already taken one a day. And basically it's just like when you take a vitamin, you just pop one of those in your mouth. That's it. Thank you for noticing. They're finasteride minoxidil chews. You just type that in online on Google, whatever, it'll pull up a whole bunch of different companies that do it. Just get whichever one's cheapest. So all of you guys that have emailed me and asked for advice or asked what the deal is, there it is, there you go. Good luck.
Live long and prosper.
Fragrances, where do we begin? Let's start off on a different kind of foot than you might be expecting or thinking. This is La Nuit de l'Homme, but it is not just any La Nuit de l'Homme. This is the Eau de Parfum. Is that special? Not really. Don't actually know why I introduced it that way. It's not like it's, what? It's not like it's a super special edition or anything like that, but yeah, La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Parfum. So a lot of people with this fragrance, they're gonna think, nah man, that is fall and winter time. And yes, if we're talking about your typical seasons when you would wear this fragrance, that is correct. But you can absolutely pull this off during summer, more specifically in the evening, as long as you're maybe not somewhere that is ultra hot and humid. So this has, in typical La Nuit de l'Homme fashion, cardamom right off the top. Smells really nice, very enticing and sexy, warm, sweet. Very lightly green, not too much. A nice touch of grapefruit in there, adds a little pop, a little freshness when you first spray it on. As it dries down, you've got leather, tonka, sandalwood, lavender. Becomes a little bit creamy. It does come across sweet, nice masculine edge to it, classy, sexy, enticing, magnetic, all of that. And even though it's an eau de parfum, and even though the fragrance itself is set up more like a fall wintertime scent, as I mentioned, the performance is not insane. The longevity is good. It lasts, it sticks. The projection is more average, and that works out because when it's a little bit warmer, it's gonna stick around, it's gonna get you noticed, it's gonna project enough. But as long as you don't go insanely heavy, or like I said, as long as it's not like 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside, 100% humidity, it's gonna work well enough to get you noticed very well without being cloying. And it is a big compliment puller as well in typical La Nuit de l'Homme fashion. Let's go next with Aeros Flame from Versace. Aeros Flame is one of those ones where if you know, you know. And I know that most of you know about Aeros Flame. But a lot of your average bros out there are rocking Aeros Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those work. But Aeros Flame, yeah, this one flies a little bit more under the radar, at least for your average person. Great opening here. Citrus, mandarin, orange, lemon, pepper. I realize that now sounds like I'm describing like a fish dish, lemon pepper, but it smells great. Once again, a touch of green in there, a little aromatic essence to the fragrance. You have Kinoto off the top as well. So it's fruity, a little bit zingy, kind of jumps off your skin, grabs attention immediately. Also sweet as well. Good amount of vanilla in there and tonka as it dries down. You have some floral notes along the edges, just add some body, some depth to the scent. Also a little bit of woodiness in there as well, gives a nice masculine edge. Performance, really good. It lasts a long time. It projects. So this one will work equally well whether we're talking about daytime use or evening use. You can also use it during spring, during fall, during winter. And actually, because of that performance, a lot of people would maybe put this more as like a fall or winter time type of Aeros release, but it has nice freshness initially and transitions into a sweeter, warmer fragrance as it dries down. So it would make a perfect scent to wear as a transitional fragrance in the summer, daytime into evening. And you can easily wear it during the summer, just maybe don't spray on quite as much. The performance is, like I said, really good. Now the next one is a bit of a hype beast in the niche realm. It's Vibrato by Suspiro. Now there's one thing I despise about this fragrance. Absolutely despise. And if you've watched this channel for a while, you may know what it is. It's the bottle. It's fuzzy. We gotta get rid of fuzzy bottles, man. I don't like them. What a weird tactile experience. It's like I'm cradling something, hairy.
It's a crotch party right up in here.
Now, if you've never smelled this one, it's another fragrance that has big time performance. It lasts forever, which is very surprising considering this is at its heart mainly a citrus scent. A lot of grapefruit, bergamot, ginger in here when you first spray the fragrance on. It gets compared a little bit to Bulgari's Tiger, kind of right in that style, right in that wheelhouse. Also have some clean, fresh floral notes in here, kind of a green edge once again, which is not a surprise. The bottle itself is green. A little bit powdery as well. Nice sweetness and woods as it dries down with some white musk in the base as well. It is expensive, since it is a niche fragrance, so you do want to try to pick this one up from discounters if possible. And it's not too hard to find at discounters typically, so you can get it for probably half off of what full retail is. Absolutely stunning for spring and summer, great quality as well. And if you do find yourself shopping at discounters, I have a boatload of codes that you can use. Some of the newer ones are Gift Express, 15% off your entire order, Maple Prime 5% off and free shipping, and then Intense Oud 15% off your entire order as well. Intense Oud is going to be a little bit more specializing with like clone fragrances. Gift Express is a massive discounter, so they've got pretty much everything. And then I have codes for the perfume box, also an amazing discounter, 10% off there, and JOMASHOP codes that only work within the JOMASHOP app, so be aware of that. And those do change every quarter. All the other codes stay the same, but JOMASHOP likes to make things difficult. So if they have expired, check a newer video and you can see what the codes currently are. Moving on, the next fragrance is by French Avenue and it's called Vulcan FU. This is a clone of God of Fire, which suddenly became the fragrance that everyone had to clone. I mean, the fragrance has always been good. It's always been, you know, decently popular, but it feels like all at once, every single clone house out there was like, you know what? We really need to clone that God of Fire. Everyone. Some of them are inexpensive. Some of them are very expensive. This one is a little bit lower on the price totem pole. Usually you can find it at like 35 bucks or so. Of course, that may fluctuate up or down depending on where you're shopping and whether or not it's in stock at other places. But yeah, it's kind of in that price range. Bottle looks pretty nice. Color scheme very similar to God of Fire. Atomizer, fantastic. And this one is nicely balanced. This one kind of gives you a little bit of everything. Now, some of the God of Fire clones are going to be more mango centric, a little heavier on the mango, on the sweet fruits. And that is one good thing, I guess, about all the different clones coming out at once. You have kind of different versions for different tastes. But like I was saying, some of them really heavy on the mango. Others actually lean a little bit more towards the woodsy side, not quite as much mango. This one kind of falls in between. You know, it's kind of like doing both. Not as much of one side, not as much of the other side, kind of just right there in the middle. Really appealing fragrance. Pretty much everybody likes how God of Fire smells. It's not something that's like crazy out of left field, but it is more unique than most typical summer freshies. It does have a decent amount of sweetness, good performance, and easily will get you noticed. And it doesn't cost much, which helps. Now one that I've been enjoying for a while now. Another one that's kind of under the radar also, Montclair Sunrise Pome. This is that type of scent that you can wear pretty much anywhere, anytime, does not matter. It's not really like a specific summertime fragrance, though it very easily pulls summer off.
Bruh.
What does that mean? You can wear it during summer easily. Bergamot, pink pepper, lemon, sage, suede, and vetiver, some of the notes in the scent. It smells like its own thing, like it's doing its own thing, but you could also think of this as like a mild hybrid of Absolute Aventus and a sprinkle of Dior Sauvage. So you might smell this and get like a little hint of one of those two fragrances and think, oh yeah, there's like a little bit of that in there, but at the same time, this does its own thing. If you spray this on side by side with either of those scents, you're never gonna confuse them. Also has really solid performance, lasts a long time, projects well. You can wear it daytime or evening, office fragrance, work fragrance, casual fragrance, date fragrance, doesn't matter. It used to be a little bit more difficult to find at discounters. I actually bought mine at full retail, but nowadays you can typically find it for about 75 bucks or so. So not on the like extreme cheap end of things as far as designer fragrances go, but it's a scent that most people do not know about, most people are not wearing, and yet it easily can pull compliments and attention, just like a Dior Sauvage or an Absolute Aventus. Just doesn't have as much of a name cachet to it, I guess. Okay, this next one pains me a little bit, but it is what it is. It is the new Dior M Parfum. So this is another one in a similar vein to La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Parfum over here. Dior M Parfum 2025. Nobody's gonna really smell this and think, oh, summertime. But in the evening or as a transitional fragrance from day into evening, it works really well. The scent profile used here is extremely easy to pull off. Once again, very versatile, a compliment puller, grabs attention very easily. And the opening I actually like a lot. The opening has iris. It just dissipates very quickly. It's a clean, fresh, lightly powdery, sweet iris in the opening, and then dries down to kind of an ambery vanilla scent profile that is really common nowadays. You can find that kind of vanilla used across the board. Could remind you of Armani Code Parfum to an extent with that iris initially, and then as it dries down, kind of like, you know, some of the Le Male fragrances, the way that they use vanilla. And this one is always gonna catch a little bit of hate because it's replacing the original Dior M Parfum that so many people, myself included, thought was a masterpiece, one of the best designer fragrances ever made. So yeah, it's, you know, big shoes to fill, and then when you replace that with something that's very clearly trying to be like, okay, this is what's popular right now, make something like that, and put just a tiny bit of iris in there. It can make people a little unhappy, especially people that were big fans of the original, so that's always gonna be kind of following this one around. But if you're looking for a scent that people do gravitate towards, that people do really enjoy, this one fits that bill. So Dior M Parfum 2025. After that, we're going with Still Life from Olfactive Studio. It's another one, another niche fragrance, another one that if you can find it at discounters, obviously gonna be much more affordable, so that's what you wanna try to do. And this one is nice and citrusy, with a bit of spiciness in there. There's also Still Life in Rio, which may appeal to you a little bit more. You can check that one out if you're interested, and that one you can typically find for a decent price as well. So this has a lot of yuzu when you first spray the fragrance on. Yuzu, pink pepper, and also elemi. So it's fresh, sweet, even a little bit, maybe lightly creamy with like a woodsy undertone. Also a little green and boozy. It has rum in there and galbanum, which you can pick up both of those notes clearly, especially as it starts to dry down. It has a nice little zing to it, touch of poppiness when you first spray it, you know, this like lightly carbonated feel, but not overdone. Only drawback with this one is the performance is so-so. It is one of those summertime fragrances that does not scream. It's there, it's noticeable, but you may need to go a bit heavier with this one compared to everything else we've talked about. Still, if you can find this on the cheap, it makes an interesting summertime scent with a nice citrusy pop that does get you noticed and smells a little different than most of your typical citrus designers and other more affordable citruses out there. As of this video, I think you can find this for about like $115. And now I'm questioning whether or not that is an accurate memory. Yes, $115 for a 100 ml size bottle. If you're watching this in the future, the price is different. I'm sorry, I got no control over that, brother. I wanna go next with the cheaper fragrance. So we're gonna go with this Itcon from Zamaya. Interesting presentation here, kind of like a monolithic looking bottle with wings and then a little Zamaya thing in the front. So what could this one be a clone of? Well, when you figure it out, actually it makes a little bit of sense, at least in terms of the color scheme and kind of the bottle shape-ish. It's YSL's Myself, the Eau de Parfum. And I probably don't need to tell you too much about YSL Myself as far as just the overall compliment pulling nature of that one. And also you could just put Myself in here. It'll fit, it'll work. So once again, very clean, somewhat like clean clothing to an extent, a nice smooth orange blossom, pop of citrus when you first spray it on, kind of an amber woodsy dry down as well. Another one that you could wear pretty much year round, daytime or evening, because Myself is just that type of fragrance, the type of scent that it does not matter where you're going or what you're doing, it will work. Now, some people might find that a little boring and be like, well, I want something with more gusto, but if you're after mass appeal, that's one of the best ones you could have in your rotation. But if you don't want to spend that much money, you can get this. And also this one is gonna give you a touch more push, a little more performance compared to the original Myself, so another bonus. About 30 bucks at discounters, and technically this is Itcon Noir. Realized I didn't say that, because there's more than just one. But you would have figured that out when you looked it up and seen it was the same bottle, right? Right. Now another one that's a little bit more for the evening, in my opinion, Le Beau Le Parfum. So you could go Le Beau Eau de Toilette, you could go Le Beau Paradise Garden, you could go Flower Edition. Any of those are gonna work during the summer. Le Beau Le Parfum is gonna be the heaviest of the bunch, which is why if you're wearing it in the middle of summer when it's really hot, especially if it's really humid, then I would probably hold off and wear it during the evening. But of course, not everywhere is super hot during the summer. So if you're somewhere where it's maybe a little bit more temperate, then absolutely you can pull this off during the day. And if you are somewhere where it's a little more hot, you can wear it during the evening and it smells amazing. This is a huge compliment pulling fragrance, which is why it is so popular. It's got pineapple, iris, coconut, and tonka, along with additional woodsy notes. It is sweet and fresh. It is that kind of combination that people are so drawn towards. And the performance is quite good as well. Kind of like I mentioned before, it's a little thicker than the other Le Beaus. So if you do like the Le Beau line, you can really go with any of them. Take your choice. This one may, for me, be the most consistent attention grabber of the lineup, but it is also the one that I have to think about the most, depending on where I'm going, what I'm doing. You just don't want to be overwhelming. You know, you spray too much, it gets headache inducing, and that's not what you're after. All right, we're gonna end it with this one. This is Yellow Dream from Valentino. So another one that is slightly not the typical aquatic scent profile you might think of for summertime, but it works. It has pineapple and gingerbread, which is a little strange sounding combo. Smells also vaguely similar to Stronger With You. Also doesn't sound great for summer. Oh, and there's also vanilla in there and additional spices like ginger, for example. So yeah, all of that just sounds like it would not work. And yet it does. It works really well, actually. In spite of all those notes sounding like it's gonna be way too heavy, it's actually kind of effervescent the way that it comes on. Really bright, airy, attention grabbing. Yes, sweet, but more in like, more like a sparkling kind of way. That ginger really kind of cutting through. Works perfectly during the day or the evening, either one. Also great during spring and early fall, I would say. During winter, you can find better things because performance-wise, it's not bad, but it is more average. Which during the summer works great because you can have all those different notes that you would normally not think of as a summertime scent, but because it's not cloying, it works. So Yellow Dream, gonna finish this one off. And also just a quick mention for Afternoon Swim over here, Louis Vuitton. Performance of Afternoon Swim, not anything to write home about, but it is a citrus lover's dream. Tons of citrus along with ambergris and ginger. Great vacation scent, beachy type fragrance. Nice daytime, summertime scent when it's really hot outside and you want something that's going to be just easy to wear, really appealing, that you can spray 50 times and it doesn't matter. That's that. Also, it's expensive. There we go, guys. I want to thank you all for hanging with me here. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.